The views expressed on this program are those of the producers and individuals appearing on this program and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Sun Prairie Media Center staff, its video service providers, or the staff and elected officials of the City of Sun Prairie.
Hello and welcome to Real Reviews. My name is Jamison Rabbit, and this week I'm so happy to be rejoined by friend of the show. You know her, you love her. It's Kate Sadler. Hi.
Hello, I'm here again to review Ant-Man, and would you like me to lead into it right now?
Well, yes, you are here to talk about some Ant-Man. So why don't you go ahead and let the people know if they haven't seen Ant-Man, what it's all about.
Ant-Man is about, Scott Lang / Ant-Man reprising his role. He's back after the events of Endgame, and this is part of his series, and also joined by the Wasp, because it's an Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, and also his daughter Cassie is also a main part of this movie. So you have the entire Lang family and also Hope's family all together, and they are sucked back into the quantum realm, which leads to some big shenanigans and a lot of... Oh, actually,
yes.
There we go. They meet a certain person. I don't know how many spoilers we want here, but a certain individual who is trying to take over the quantum realm.
I think we can say who the villain is. Yes.
And he is trying to take over the quantum realm in pretty much every single timeline, because he has a super special timeline machine ship, and they have to figure out how to stop him and possibly stop his other timelines.
Yeah, he's kind of got, he's got a DeLorean. He
basically.
Jump through time and space.
Yeah.
He just needs to get it fixed.
And that's
it. So this is kind of the start of Phase 5, right, for Marvel? Yeah. Kind of launching where they're going to go next. Kang going to be the big baddie for the foreseeable future. We saw him at the end of Loki.
Yes, he was in the end of Loki.
Yeah, and so I kind of struggled with this movie. I went in kind of excited because I really like the first two Ant-Man movies. I think they're both really good. And I thought, okay, I've been really let down by a lot of Phase 4. I thought, Eternals and even Doctor Strange I was kind of half in, half out on. Thor I was kind of halfway with. But I really like this, and I love Paul Rudd. I love Jonathan Majors. Like him as Kang, it's going to be awesome. And I felt like this movie was kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah.
One of the things is the character of Cassie, who is played by Catherine Newton, plays his daughter, right? Grown-up Cassie now. And she's kind of the reason that all the trouble happens.
Yeah. She's
trying to reach into the quantum realm, and we get sucked in. And then I didn't feel like she had, like, a ton to do in the movie.
Yeah.
I wanted her to be more than just... She was kind of a damsel in distress for a lot of the movie.
Yeah, it was like... It wasn't even like she was trying to solve it, which, to be fair, she had not a lot of knowledge of what was going on. But honestly, so did, like, half of the rest of the family involved. So I felt like she could have, like, tried to be like, oh, I was trying to create a map of the quantum realm, so I'm going to do that while I'm here. Or I'm going to start... She did have the start of a good motivation. Her whole thing was like, these people are in trouble because of Kang, and we should not just sit by and help them, and not just try to get out of here, but we should help, their cause, and then we can leave. So I feel like she had the start of a good character motivation, but they just never expanded on that.
One of the other characters, Michelle Pfeiffer's character, Janet?
Yes.
Curious what you thought about her. Like, I felt like she was holding secrets through the whole movie, right?
She was holding secrets. Her whole thing was like, it was kind of like she was in the quantum realm before for like years upon years upon years.
Right.
And her secret was that she had created Kang's, empire?
Yeah.
Almost in a way, because she prevented him from jumping to his other timelines because he had been like banished.
Yeah.
And so she expanded his like timeline circle, whatever you want to call it, and so which did not allow him to travel. And then he started building his empire and becoming like this dictator. And she like was like, oh, I can't tell them about that.
That's the thing is like she had so much knowledge, prior knowledge, but she wouldn't tell until it was too late. Like, oh yeah, like this is horrible. Oh, okay, I guess I'll tell you a little more. Like, we're your family. We're
and
trouble.
by that time, like, Scott and Cassie were already captured by Kang.
Right,
They
exactly.
didn't know what to do. They didn't know who this guy was.
Like, wait a minute,
like,
what's going on here?
Yeah.
I felt like this was missing some of the comedic element I love about the Ant-Man movies. Michael Pena in the original ones is
very funny.
Amazing. And I felt like they were missing that kind of comedic element. They kind of brought some comedy with the man with no holes, the character with no holes.
Yes, I loved him. I thought he was so cute.
He was cute. And then another big Marvel baddie, MODOK, shows up.
He showed up and he was... honestly, I think I should become a character designer for the MCU because it was not my favorite, and it was.
You didn't love the way they stretched the face?
No, he looked like Mr. Electric from Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Exactly.
And I didn't enjoy it because it wasn't pleasant to look at, and it looked like a low-budget movie thing, like Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
That's one of my big issues with this movie. Is I felt like the CGI, the effects in this movie were kind of all over the place. I felt like I could see the seams and. You look in the credits, and there's like 6 different effects houses that were piecing, and I felt like I could see where some of these were not up to par for a Marvel movie, and that's frustrating, especially for a movie that is basically entirely CGI'd, right? We're in the quantum realm, and it is very, very little things are real in this thing. It's all CGI, and it wasn't consistent.
I liked there were a couple parts of CGI that I liked. I liked when it was like Janet and then Hope when they all first fell into the quantum realm, and it was like that kind of yellowish area was. I think that was well done, but then like there were some parts where it was just like really very hard to look at or like hard to process with your eyes, and it was like I don't know. And also I noticed that the world building here. It was very Star Wars inspired, and I don't know if that was just me, but I was like, this reminds me of like a Star Wars film. Like this definitely would have maybe looked a little better in a Star Wars film. Yeah. But I was like, oh my gosh, that was just. I felt like they could have expanded on like how the world operates. I mean, they did a lot, but it was more based around Kang and not just how like everything had evolved, because there were people there now, and you're like, where did these people come from, and why are they here? I thought Janet was the only one, like. Right.
And I feel like Marvel has had a really hard time showing and explaining what the quantum realm is on screen, and the special effects didn't help, and the quantum realm is kind of a difficult thing to wrap your mind around, and I didn't feel like they have done a great job of really explaining it.
The quantum realm, and I think this movie was supposed to like explain what it was, but
I think this was really supposed to be like, okay, now we're done with that, now we can move forward.
And now we can just go into it, and people are gonna know what it is, but it's like you didn't do a good job of explaining it. So.
Jonathan Majors as Kang. I love Jonathan Majors. I think he was the best part of this movie.
He's
very good. He's an actor who has become one of those guys who, like, I'm just going to watch whatever he's in.
Yeah.
I see his name, I'm in.
He's good.
He's got Creed 3 coming out soon. I'm in. I went back and rewatched The Harder They Fall, his Netflix movie, because I love him in that. And I'm curious to see what they do with his Kang. But I feel like we're being really negative on this movie. I did enjoy it. I have some fun.
I enjoyed it. Like, I wasn't bored. I wasn't like, I'm going to fall asleep. I need something else to do. But, like, it wasn't, like, a Marvel movie that I'd be like, you should go pay however much money to go watch it at the theaters.
Now, do you think it's because you're getting marveled out? Do you think it's because their product is kind of watered down? I feel like sometimes it's directionless.
It's a lot of directionless. I think after Endgame, I can't say that though because I really like No Way Home, and that was an incredible movie. Yeah, incredible.
Obviously.
I think it is. I am a bit not as engaged with it, which is just comes with like change and whatever they're doing. But I think it's a bit directionless. I feel like the production on the movies. I'm not saying like past Marvel movies, like the earlier ones, were that great either plot-wise or story-wise. Like they definitely were very flawed. But I just feel like there's just not a charm to it, and like they're just producing movies.
That's a great way of phrasing it.
Yeah.
I found I was enjoying myself in the movie for the most part. Like, okay, this is fun. It's cool. I love Paul Rudd. I love Jonathan Majors. But as soon as it was done, I didn't have the excitement that I used to have at the end of a Marvel movie.
Go talk about it.
Yes, where I'm like, wow, that was awesome. I'd be buzzing. The stinger scene would be something that would like really set me off, and like we got to break this down.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, Yeah,
It's a movie.
that was all right.
I'm
And
gonna
people
go see it.
ask me constantly, like, "Hey, what did you think of Ant-Man?" Like, that's fine.
It's a movie.
Like, I wouldn't say don't see it, but I wouldn't say like you're gonna go see one of the greats.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate though, because I feel like Marvel was for a long time.
Well, and it's like, and they showed like they can do great story and great like emotional, like plot points, and they can keep it coherent in No Way Home.
Yes.
And I saw that movie, like I've seen it like 3 times in theaters. I saw it when they re-released it. I was like, that's a movie I will talk about for ages. And then I've just kind of felt that like there's a lack of that in recent ones.
Maybe we can get there again. We'll see.
Maybe.
We'll find
hopefully.
out. All right, let's give the people scores. What did you give Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania?
I gave it a 2.5 stars.
Yeah, right down the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Very mediocre. I gave it a little bit extra. I gave it a 3 star. Like, it's fun. It's fine. It's not bad. It's just
Average movie.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly how I feel. So, you know, if you're most people who watch Marvel movies are Marvel completists. You're going to see it regardless, right?
Yep.
There's very few people that are
Marvel
agnostic about Marvel films.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to what we have on our streaming spotlight this week. First off, we have a film that we've had over on Apple TV, I believe it was, Apple Plus. A film called Sharper from director Benjamin Caron. It is a bit of a thriller that's been segmented into chapters. We're introduced to individual characters. We're shown their interactions as we kind of jump around in a timeline. And everyone in this movie is running a long con on someone else. We have Tom and Sandy, played by Justice Smith and Brianna Middleton. They meet, they fall for each other, only for one of them to pull a confidence scam on the other. We cut to Max, played by Sebastian Stan, who's the spoiled, kind of petulant son of Madeline, played by Julianne Moore, keep up, who is dating a very wealthy older man. Max has been shown to be a con man, but we kind of don't know what level he can go with that. Madeline herself is running her own con. In fact, she's running several cons on people, and each character has multiple grifts that are happening at once, some of which, if you are paying attention, can't pay off unless that character knew what another character was running.
Yes.
And so as reveals start to happen, I found myself looking back at the movie going, well, they couldn't have known that. So why would they have done this?
Yeah.
And you start putting pieces together and things kind of start to fall apart. But without revealing too much, because it is a film based on twists and reveals.
It is definitely a mystery type movie.
You know, every 15 minutes it feels like there's a reveal or a twist of a new con. But some of them are obvious, some of them are less so. But with these movies, like this style of movie, I feel like after a couple of twists, a couple of reveals, it forces you to start looking for the next one and who's working whom. And that's, you start playing the detective and you start picking up on it. And these con movies are films that I usually enjoy. This one I felt kind of struggled to rise above mediocre for me.
Yeah, it was like, I liked it. It wasn't, like, again, I enjoyed it because I'm a big fan of, like, the Glass Onion movies. And I also like the TV show Succession. And that was kind of like that, but, like, if it was a movie about, like, different people, probably. It was definitely darker than, like, a Knives Out movie.
Right.
But, yeah, I felt like I kept up good in the first couple acts because you, again, like you said, you weren't, like, you were just like, oh, what's going to come next?
Yeah.
But then, after a while, you're like, do I want to keep up with that anymore? And so, like, by the last act, I just felt very, like, indifferent.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really know or care what's going to happen next, to be honest, so.
I know. I thought there were some solid performances in here. One of your favorite actors, Sebastian Stan.
I wouldn't say that.
But I thought there was solid performances. Julianne Moore is great in pretty much everything she does.
Yes.
I like Justice Smith quite a bit. But when you know that everyone is a liar, and everyone is an unreliable narrator to their own story because it is broken into chapters by each character, the reveals become less shocking because you're like, well, everyone in this movie is a liar.
Yeah, that's what I struggle with these kind of movies. I'm sorry, taking it back to the Knives Out series again. Is the only like reliable narrator you have, and not even in the first one, but only in the second one, would be the detective Benoit Blanc. Yeah. You're the only one who knows telling the truth, and even in the first movie, you don't even know that. So I feel like there's like there's a point at which you need to have characters that you don't know anything about and don't know are lying, or if they are, then what is their lie, but don't reveal that right as their character section happens.
Yes.
And I feel like they struggled because it's just
they gave away too much in the middle of the movie.
Too much.
Yeah, you save those reveals to the end. So there is one reveal right towards the end that I didn't see coming. Like,
yeah.
Oh, okay. But yeah, you gave away so much in the middle of the movie. I felt like, okay, you need to do
everything.
Yeah, you need to do something, like the usual suspects, where in the last 5 minutes, you go, wait a minute, I got to replay this movie in my head now to see how this all pieced together. But you gave me all the pieces throughout this movie, so I don't know. It was, I felt like it was just kind of the very definition of a middling streaming film. Like, I was having a hard time for parts of it of really caring.
Yeah,
what happened to some of these
definitely.
people? I don't know. I was watching it because I joke because last week you were telling me how much you didn't like Sebastian Stan, and I'm watching
I'm
it
very
going.
sorry if there's any Sebastian Stan superfans watching this, but I can't stand that man.
See, and I've been one of those guys that's been calling for Sebastian Stan to play the young Luke Skywalker. Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know if I can be on this show anymore.
Yeah.
Ooh, I disagree with that heavily.
Well, he's going to be on the show next week, so we'll see.
Don't invite me into the studio then.
Yeah. All right. Kate, what did you end up giving Sharper?
I gave Sharper a 3 stars because I enjoyed it. I like a good mystery type movie. Was it anything special? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. We flip on this one. I gave this one a 2.5, I believe. Let's see. There it says it, 2.5 for me. Yeah, really just,
in the
nothing
middle.
to run out for, but. All right, we have another streaming spotlight. In fact, this is a film that I had been very excited to see because it's been talked about with the buzz during the awards season.
Yeah.
We never got it in this area.
No.
And it finally came out on HBO Max, so I was very excited to see this. It's a film called Empire of Light, Sam Mendes' new film. Sam Mendes, of course, one of the huge directors in Hollywood. It's a film that is Oscar nominated for cinematography. Roger Deakins, the legendary cinematographer. It's a film that stars Olivia Colman as a lady named Hillary. This is set in 1981 England amidst a bunch of social unrest that was happening at that time. And the safe haven for Hillary and everyone in this movie is this beautiful old movie house where we meet all of our characters. Hillary is the manager of this place. She's a very by-the-books lady in how she runs things. Interestingly, she doesn't watch movies. She's also dealing with depression and mood swings, and she also has to deal with a boss, Mr. Ellis, who's played by Colin Firth, who involves her in an extramarital affair, one that seems to be one-sided and forced on her.
Yeah.
The staff at the Picture House are very close, like a small family of characters. Toby Jones, the projectionist, plays, he felt like most projectionists I've ever met, which is pretty funny. And then we have character Steven who shows up, played by Michael Ward. He shows up as a new employee who shakes things up. He's loud, he's charismatic, he kind of challenges some people. And he and Hillary hit it off as she sees something in him and he in her. And this interracial coupling during Margaret Thatcher's England of 1981 draws a lot of ire from people. And this is something that Steven is used to, but Hillary is not used to. And this film is, I want to say, the film is beautiful. That's no shock. It's Roger Deakins that shot this. It's nominated for this.
I definitely understand why it's nominated for cinematography.
It's gorgeous, right? In this grand old movie house.
To watch, yes.
Velvet and shiny brass on this place. Like, I want to hang out there and watch movies.
The coloring was really nice, too. I enjoyed how everything was shot and how everything was balanced out. I thought it was very nice to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Olivia Colman, great in everything she does, I think.
Yeah, she's very good.
How invested in this movie were you?
Not very. I'm going to be honest. I personally felt like the depictions of both racism and BPD, which are very different things. I'm just grouping them together because they're more of the serious topics that are covered in this movie. Were very almost like elementary level, and there wasn't like much added for a movie that's like mostly centered around this stuff. I felt like it, like if that's like one of the main focuses for like both characters, it wasn't even like gone into, like it was just very surface level stuff. So I was like, this isn't, like, for a movie that's, like, supposed to be taking itself seriously, and it's obviously created like that, I just felt like it wasn't serious enough where I was like, oh, this stuff is, like, affecting the characters to, like, a big level. And, like, the performances by both actors showed that, but I just felt like the way it was, approached in the movie did not show that.
Yeah, I felt like they tried to tackle too many topics.
Yeah.
You got mental illness, racism, sexual harassment.
Yes.
Felt like it was a lot of big topics for the story, and you're right, it was all surface level. They couldn't really dig into all this, and I felt like a lot of it just kind of meandered too much amongst these things and relied really heavily on Olivia Colman giving us a great performance, and she did, but I don't think she could deliver more than what was on the page, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that surprised me because Sam Mendes is a great director, and he wrote this script, one of the few films that he's written. But yeah, I mean, Olivia Colman dealing with schizophrenia and depression and revealing it at really inopportune times. I thought she did everything she could with it, and like you said, I think the film looked beautiful. It's a subject matter I love. We're talking about movies and hanging out at a movie house, and I'm all in on this. And at the end, I was thinking, like, okay, so what was the message they're trying to get across? Was it that movies can cure racism and depression?
Like, I don't know.
I don't know. It felt really muddled on what the message wanted to be.
Yeah, I felt like it could have relied a lot more on the characters' connections, considering that was almost the main focus of the movie. I liked it when it was, like, the first, like, couple scenes with, like, the movie house staff. Like, that was very fun.
Yeah.
But then, like, there wasn't much exploration on that, and then I felt like a lot of it could have relied on human interaction, but they almost strayed away from that, even though it was still incorporated in the movie, if that makes sense. So I felt like it didn't hit the marks it could have with how it was presented.
Yeah, I mean, again, big, heavy topics.
Yeah.
And I felt like the scenes that I enjoyed the most, actually, because I didn't feel like they were really sinking their teeth into the topics that they introduced, so that I'm looking for something that I really enjoy. Toby Jones is the projectionist I mentioned. I loved his few scenes, especially there's the one where he explains his love for his art and how intricate it is to show a film, and basically explains the title of Empire of Light, you know, like it's how I create this light and show this, and I was like, oh, that's fascinating. I really enjoy his passion for showing movies. I
do like movies about movies. An example of that, it's more of a documentary, but Shirkers on Netflix, very good, and I recommend. It's a documentary technically, but it's about how a group of teenagers, they tried to make this movie, and I'm not gonna go into it, but it's very good. I recommend you watch it. Yeah, you should watch it. It's really good. But so I always like seeing stuff about, like, movies, and, like, seeing directors almost put that into the movie themselves. Is just making a movie about the art of making movies. Right. And I did agree. That scene was really
they're
nice.
passionate about.
And that scene was really nice to watch, and I just felt like if they had kept more of what the movie was probably centered towards, then it could be good.
Yeah, I never felt like the Mr. Ellis character, Colin Firth's character, the boss, I never felt like that paid off. Like,
no, there was no resolution. There was no point at which she was like...
I mean, there was a big blow up, and then it was like, he's not here.
He's not here anymore. It's like, oh, okay. For all that?
Yeah. I'll say I'm a little disappointed in this movie. Yeah. But, what did you end up giving Empire of Light?
I gave it 2 stars. Because fair. I don't know, because serious movie, like, when it's a more serious, like, there's not a lot of comedy, there's not a lot of, like, it's not, like, a fun movie. I mean, all movies can be fun. But you know what I'm trying to say.
I do.
When there's not that, and then it's just not a very good, like, good to watch, then you're like...
Wasn't engaging.
Yeah, if it's not engaging, then I've watched plenty of, like, more serious movies, but it's like...
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I end up giving it 2.5 stars, right down the middle. Really shocking to me, though. I was expecting this to be like a 3.5, 4-star movie with this cast and this director and this subject matter, and and it was being nominated for a lot of the early award season stuff. It was nominated for Best Picture and stuff like this. Like, wow, this is gonna be great, and I was left wanting.
Yeah, it was not my favorite, but
Unfortunately, I got you on a week that was a lot of, like, shrug movies.
Yeah.
Next time, we'll get you on a week where there's
Hopefully.
something really great.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. We can't guarantee anything. All right, let's take a look ahead at what is coming soon. I'm looking at the week of March 3rd. We have a few movies that weekend. The first one in theaters is Creed 3, the third film in the Creed franchise. This time, Adonis must face his toughest test. A former friend who returns from prison looking to take everything that Creed has. And he's going to have to battle against Jonathan Majors again.
Oh.
I'm excited. I'll watch
Jonathan Majors.
Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors fight each other. I'm in. Also in theaters, we have a film called Operation Fortune. This is Guy Ritchie's newest film starring Jason Statham about an elite spy team led by a man named Orson Fortune. That's Jason Statham. What a name, Orson Fortune. He has to recruit the world's biggest movie star, played by Josh Hartnett, to help him take down a billionaire arms dealer, played by Hugh Grant.
Whoa.
This sounds like a lot of nonsense going on there, but that is our big action movie of the week. And then for our horror film of the week of March 3rd, we have Hunt Her, Kill Her, a horror flick about a young woman who is the target of a sinister masked intruder who is forcing her to use her instincts and barbaric violence to fight off the intruders. I don't know if this is going to be great or bad.
Sounds like a Saw type premise.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of horror movies, especially this time of year horror movies.
No, not very good.
But then I saw Barbarian last year.
Barbarian
and
is very
absolutely
good.
loved it.
Very good.
Like, loved it. And now I'm kind of like, okay, I'm willing to be hurt again. I'll watch some bad ones in order to find another good one.
Find another good one. Yeah, Nope and Barbarian were very good horror movies last year. So I'm kind of back into the swing of them. But we'll see.
Saw the trailer for the new Scream movie today.
One of my favorite actresses, Samara Weaving, is in that movie.
Yes,
so
she
I'm
is.
going to see it for her.
She's become a bit of a Scream queen, though. She's in Ready or Not, right? She's been in a bunch of...
Ready or Not,
Love
that's also
that.
one of my favorites.
That's,
love her.
Also, the Babysitter movies, right? Was that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love the first Babysitter
I love her.
movie. She's good stuff. All right. Before we move any further, we want to thank our sponsor, Marcus Theaters, The Palace here in Sun Prairie. Thank you for sponsoring this program. Thanks for showing us these movies. Over at The Palace, they're showing all the Best Picture nominees leading up to the Oscars coming up next month. And so if you want to go see some their Best Picture showcase, you can go see any of the Best Picture movies on the big screen, which is always better than seeing it at home, trust me.
True.
So that's fun. I'm going to go see a couple of films over there that we didn't get this year. So that's exciting. Next week, I'm going to be talking about such legendary films as Cocaine Bear, which I've already seen. And let me just say,
I have to go see it, so.
Highest levels. Is
it fun?
Full on insane. It's exactly what you want it to be.
Okay.
About a bear doing cocaine. I have a film called Bruiser. I have the streaming film from David Harbour called We Have a Ghost. I'll be talking about
I love David Harbour.
Well, he's a ghost in this movie, haunting people. Yes,
okay.
He is, I don't know. We'll see. I think I'm going to be talking about the Best Picture nominee, Women Talking, one of the films that we did not get in the area, and we are getting this weekend. So I'm excited for all that. Who knows? Maybe more movies, because next week I'm going to be all by my lonesome. So got a lot of stuff to talk about to fill the time. But we'll see. So tune in next week for all of that nonsense. Miss Kate, thank you again for joining me.
Of course, anytime. I'm here whenever, 24/7.
24/7. Always.
Yes.
If you run into Kate out in the streets of Sun Prairie, you'll hear her talking about movies.
Yes, please approach me about the Knives Out series and also Nope.
Yeah.
I love those movies a lot. And
you might not get away from
movie.
her though if you do.
No, you won't. Because I saw Nope 5 times in theaters over the summer. So yes, I will talk about that movie endlessly.
I love it. You want to tell people how to find you on Letterboxd?
Letterboxd, I think it's at Dami Hart, if you want to look for it. DAMI Hart.
I'm going to find you there.
So find me, and I review movies sometimes.
There you go. I love it. All right, let's get out of here. Until next week, where I'm talking about bears doing coke and ghosts in the house, I'm Jamison.
I'm Kate.
And thanks for watching.